Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha, Chodash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder apostle, Ahdawam Ban Yasharallah of the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. Nakar Harab by Yasharallah, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharallah here in Jacksonville, Florida. And not today, I'll be coming out a lesson. It's on this article right here. It popped up on my feed, and I looked into it, and it says here, it says half of workers are revenge quitting. You know, you got to always put a terminology on things, and walking out on their jobs without notice, and the majority are loyal, long-time staff. And that's usually what happens. And why does that happen? Because Aisha does not value his real workers. He'll sit there, or he'll sit back, and all the real workers, he'll let them do all the work and won't promote them, won't give them any recognition, won't really do anything to keep that worker loyal. You know, they even treat them as if they're expendable. But then he'll turn right around and promote the slacker that's on the job, promote the one that's coming late, promote the one that isn't there all the time. No call, no show. He'll promote them, but when it comes down to the real workers, they're the ones he don't care nothing about. You know, but let's continue. You know, and this is not, we're gonna say this is not all jobs, but it's a vast majority of them though, who dump on their real workers. You know, but let's hear. It says you've probably heard of quiet quitting. The trend. Oh, here we go. It's a trend. That saw employees doing the bare minimum of work and silently checking out of jobs that they didn't enjoy, but financially needed. And in today's time, jobs ain't even making ends meet right now. People got to work more than one job just to make ends meet for the month, you know. And then probably do a little something on the side too, just so they can have enough to survive and get by. This devil has to go. But let's continue. But again, it says silently checking out of jobs they don't enjoy, but may financially need. And here we go. Then came loud quitting. Yeah, Esau, he has to use all these terminologies, which is essentially what it says, making a lot of noise about why they're leaving. It says, but now workers are so frustrated with toxic workplaces that they're just ditching jobs without any warning or resignation. You know, again, revenge quitting. It's called just walking off the job. That's what it's called, walking off the job. And nobody quitting as revenge on a job. But these the terminology that Aisha uses. But nonetheless, it made me think of some scriptures, and I'll get to after I read this article. It's not a long one. It says, unfortunately, it's not just young new hires who are leaving their employees high and dry without any formal notice or so much as a heads up that they won't be at their desk the next day, according to a report. Revenge quitting by the job board Monster. Oh, Monster. Yeah. Nearly half of U.S. workers say they have done it. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Walked off a job, just, okay, I'm out, I'm done. You know? Because of why? Because of unprofessionalism. Because managers and the leadership are either slacking or not doing their job or not enforcing rules that need to be enforced so that the work environment and workplace can be better off. And most times the people that leave are the real workers, people that actually show up to work for real. You know, but let's continue. It says the majority were in their post for over 2 years before deciding to silently walk off the job, whatever that is. Sudden resignations aren't just individual exits. They are warning signals flashing across workplace culture, says Monster's career expert, Vicky Salemi. Sounds like a poquito sombrero. But let's continue. When workers walk out without notice, it's often because they have lost trust in leadership or feel their voices unheard. No, most times because they're being dogged out. They're not being shown any recognition for their work, or they're pulling lazy workers slack. So people are walking out because management ain't reprimanding and or dealing with other workers that's slacking, or any plethora of things could happen. So now their people are leaving, and this hurts Aishaw's economy, work economy. I say work economy. But let's continue. It says why employees revenge quit. Toxic workplaces and management. Perhaps surprisingly, it is not about money. Sometimes it is about money. Well, let's continue. It says Monster surveys show that the main triggers for quitting are toxic workplaces, poor management, and feeling undervalued. That pretty much gets rid of your real workers. Low pay, that's another one, or the lack of benefits actually accounts for only 4% of silent exits. Now, exits. It accounts for higher than that. Let's continue. It says lack of career growth opportunities ranks lower, proving that culture and management drives loyalty or its collapse. And of course, it has a ripple effect on those left behind. Nearly 60% of workers have seen a colleague walk out without notice. The impact on teams is immediate. Projects stall, remaining employees scramble to fill gaps, and overall morale takes a hit. Up to a third of workers have seen 4 or more peers abruptly quit without a word, because those workers were probably the real workers, and guess what? They were undervalued. They didn't care. They was treated like they was expendable. They probably had some complaints and things to say, and what happens? Nothing. That's what happens. It's like that at where I'm working at. Of course. Well, let's continue. It says, worse yet, it may even inspire. Yeah, whatever. But let's continue. It says, despite seeing the disruption it causes, around 90% of workers report that quitting is justified in a poor work environment. Meanwhile, say it's a valid form of protest. So you got to think that's 100%. It's over 100% of your workers saying, yeah, this is something that needs to be done, because this is the only way you get these jobs attention, when you just don't show up, or you was there and then you just gone, and you don't never ever come back. That's when they want to notice something is wrong, but by that time it's too late. And again, when this happens, most of the time it's the actual workers. It's the people that's there working for real, that's doing their job. But let's continue. And it says here how to reduce. It says revenge quitting at companies. Blah blah blah. This right here too, and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it's just Aisha being wicked, treating workers wrongly, shortchanging, jipping, bamboozling, and stuff like that. People not getting paid enough, and so on and so on. But it made me think about this right here. This is James chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl, for your misery shall come upon you. So when it comes down to it, it says, look, all you rich people, these ones that own these companies, these riches, it says, weep, howl, lament, cry out with anguish. Why? Because there are terrible troubles coming for the supposed rich, for the supposed, we'll say, upper echelon of those people who own these companies. Their riches is not going to profit them in the day of wrath. Verse 2, it says, your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten. So their riches are corrupted. Their wealth is rotting. And those fine clothing and those fine threads they once wear, guess what? It's starting to become moth eaten. It's gonna become tattered rags at some point. And it's not gonna be that expensive material or that expensive whatever it is that it once was. Let's continue. Verse 3, your gold is and silver, Salakia, is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. So their gold and silver have become worthless. These rich people that start these companies, everything that they've gained has become worthless. And then and so far and so forth, all the way up to the so-called elite of Ahdawam. Their gold, their silver is cankered. It has become worthless. The very wealth that they have counted on for so long is going to start to eat their flesh. It's going to start to become a disease and or a destruction to them. They have accumulated so much wealth, and in that wealth that they have accumulated, it's going to stand against them or stand as a witness against them in the day of judgment. Verse 4, behold, the hire of the laborers which have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the Lord of Sabbath oath. So it has gotten to a point to these people, this devil, the laborers, and of course, when it comes down to it, who's working on these jobs? Jake working on these jobs, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They're the ones working on these jobs, doing the jobs, while Aisha or Ahdawam sits in these seats of position, manager, assistant manager, CEO, boss, owner, and they're the ones that's holding people back, keeping people back by fraud. We're the ones who reap down this devil's fields, working on this devil's jobs, working in these companies that he makes up. And what happens? He keeps our money back from us by fraud. According to the scripture, we're supposed to get paid daily. This devil make you wait either a week or 2 weeks. People getting paid every 2 weeks. Paid twice in a month. You don't know what could happen within that month. So that's the reason why it was paid daily. Because if you get paid daily, if someone's working on the job and they like the job, they'll show back up again. But now what this devil does, he pays you either weekly or bi-weekly to keep you working, so that you won't work one or two times and then leave. Because this devil, that's fraud. And this devil has kept back wages by what? By fraud. Fraudulent practices. They holding back wages. But now guess what? People are now crying out. And the cries of those people who are like, I ain't got enough money, ends ain't meeting, things ain't happening, guess what? That is coming to the ears of the Lord of Sabbath oath. I mean, that is falling to the ears of the Lord of armies, which is Yahweh, the Heavenly Father. So the Lord here, especially coming to Jake, the righteous about people that's like righteous, he hear that. But there was once upon a time where the Lord he heard Jake period crying out, working in them cotton fields and all that stuff, doing everything for this devil, even now. So guess what? Now it's getting to a point to where the Lord's going to do something about it. Verse 5, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth. You have been Salakia one time, and nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. So this devil has spent his years in luxury, lived in luxury, satisfying his every need, his every want. Anything he want to do, he can do it. You running the company, he owns a company, he way overseas playing golf or something. That's how Aisha moves. That's how Aisha does. He wants you to do all the heavy lifting while he does nothing. And then when you don't want to do the heavy lifting or you're tired of doing the heavy lifting, he wants to call you lazy and you're not motivated. Translation, you're not working to make me money. Never mind you. I'll give you this little bit. I'll give you something, but I'm going to hold a lot of it back through fraudulent practices. That's how this devil gets down. Well, guess what? This devil has fattened himself up like a we'll say a beast for the day of slaughter, such as maybe a lamb, a cow, maybe a deer or a goat or anything. So it's basically this devil is heaping all this treasure up, and it ain't gonna do nothing but tend to his poverty and his downfall. So, it was just a little, I ain't gonna say a quick lesson. It's a little lesson that caught my attention. I know it's a little outside of the, watching for prophecy, but ain't no telling what's gonna happen. Probably gonna be more people walking off of jobs, and more than likely, it's probably gonna be the workers, the ones who actually work for real. Them the ones the workers that they come get to do everything, and expect they expect the workers to pull the slack of other workers that are lazy, But yeah, and with that, shalom.